Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing an analysis of the economies of Russia and China.
Yeah, using the absolute latest information available right now in July 2026.
Right, and for you listening, I want you to picture like a duck on a pond.
Oh, the classic analogy.
Exactly. On the
Right?
surface, it's just gliding. It looks, completely effortless. But underneath the water,
Paddling frantically.
right, paddling like crazy just to stay moving. And that is exactly what we are seeing with these two economies. On the surface, the military output and export volume, it all looks incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it creates this illusion of industrial strength.
Right.
But the underwater reality is a completely different story.
It really is.
Like if we look at Russia first, the state is pumping just vast amounts of money into military production.
Right.
But to keep doing that, they're basically sacrificing their future. They're pulling resources from everywhere else. I mean, their own projections for 2026 show a really dismal economic growth rate of just 0.4%.
Wow, that is low.
And by May, the federal budget deficit had already hit 2.6% of their GDP.
Which, leads to some pretty wild contradictions. Like, Russia is a global energy superpower, right?
Right.
But we are seeing actual domestic gasoline shortages right now.
Yeah, it's heavily ironic.
I mean, how does an oil giant literally run out of gas at home?
Well, it's because the refineries are either, forced to prioritize state military needs or they're dealing with maintenance issues.
Because they can't get Western parts.
Yes, they can't fix things easily without those parts.
Yeah.
And it's everyday Russians who are paying the price for that redirection.
Right. They're the ones feeling it.
Yeah, they're dealing with rampant inflation, their paychecks are buying less, and we're seeing a massive spike in bad bank loans because people are just borrowing money to cover basic living expenses.
So the state is basically draining the civilian economy. But I want to push back on that just a little bit.
Sure.
Because we just saw the UK and the EU issue new sanctions this month, like literally right now in July 2026.
Right, the asset freezes.
Yeah, over the chemical weapons deployment. So if Western powers are still having to issue new penalties, why hasn't the whole Russian economy just hit a breaking point?
Well, because those specific sanctions, the asset freezes, they are highly targeted.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they lock up the international bank accounts of specific individuals. They don't just shut down an entire national economy overnight. The real damage is actually the friction of financial isolation.
Friction meaning like the actual cost of doing business is going up.
Yeah, think of it like being banned from the main highway. You're forced to take all these back roads.
Right.
So Russia survives by routing trade through non-Western partners. But that means paying multiple middlemen, dealing with really complex currency conversion.
And probably getting worse trade terms.
Much worse terms. The transaction costs are enormous, so their economic efficiency and profit margins are just shrinking every single day.
And the biggest back road they're using right now is obviously China.
Exactly. Beijing is their economic lifeline.
Which transitions us perfectly to the other half of this deep dive. Because if you look at the July 2026 data for China, they are doing their own frantic underwater paddling.
Oh, absolutely. It is a completely different system, but a very similar dynamic.
Right, because on paper they look unstoppable. I mean, first quarter GDP hit 5%, exports shot up by 19.4%.
Yes, the state-directed model is masking some severe domestic vulnerabilities.
Like, they are pouring billions into companies like DeepSeek to build domestic AI chips, right? Just trying to bypass U.S. restrictions and achieve total tech independence.
They are. The industrial output is massive. But if you look past that state-funded tech machine, the Chinese consumer is essentially in hiding.
Wait,
Yeah. Retail sales actually shrank by 0.6% in May.
wow, they shrank.
And to understand why citizens aren't spending, you have to look at the property market. Real estate is how Chinese families have historically built wealth.
Right, it's their main savings.
Exactly. But property investments have plummeted by 16.2%. So when families see the value of their apartments dropping and major developers going bankrupt, they panic.
Makes total sense.
They stop buying consumer goods and they just start hoarding cash.
So you have the state building high-end AI chips while the average family is feeling significantly poorer.
Exactly.
And that disconnect is showing up directly in the job market, too. The official youth unemployment rate is sitting at 15.6% right now.
And the way the system is absorbing those millions of unemployed graduates is really telling.
How so?
Well, recent figures show roughly 320 million Chinese citizens have been pushed into gig work.
Wait, 320 million?
Yeah, insecure, flexible gig work. The state-funded manufacturing boom, just isn't creating the kind of stable, high-paying jobs that a massive educated workforce actually needs.
So zooming out, you have two nuclear superpowers structurally abandoning their own domestic prosperity.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing.
In Russia, the civilian economy is hollowed out from military spending. And in China, household wealth is evaporating while they prop up tech manufacturing.
Right.
But why does this matter to you, the listener? Why should you care about retail data or the gig economy of a foreign power?
Because, well, domestic instability rarely stays within its own borders.
Right.
When global powers have struggling populations and failing internal economic models, their leaders often look outward. They project strength internationally to kind of justify the pain at home.
Sometimes very aggressively.
Exactly. A government with a wealthy, happy population is generally predictable.
Yeah.
But a government with 320 million struggling gig workers
Yeah.
and a shrinking civilian economy, that is a geopolitical wildcard.
It really is. It all comes down to how long they can keep up this momentum before exhaustion sets in. So here is a final thought for you to mull over today. If both of these massive economies are basically demanding that their citizens foot the bill for state ambitions while their own living standards drop, what happens when those citizens finally decide they are done paying?